Hello, everybody. Welcome from Louisville, Kentucky. We're visiting my father and his wife, and we're having a blast here on the 4th of July.
Yeah, so you may hear some firecrackers going off.
And big fireworks, too.
Yeah.
So we're excited, and it's beautiful, and we thought we'd do this outside, and thought you might enjoy it.
Yes.
So
Today we are talking about why you keep attracting the wrong person or the same partner. And we're going to give you 5 reasons why you might be doing this, and also 5 ways that you can start to break this cycle and this pattern and start to attract the partner and have the relationship that you truly desire.
yeah, and it's a process. The important thing is to know that there's nothing wrong, and that although it seems surprising when it happens, you're like, but I thought this person was different. But you're not alone. That's really important to know. I've been through that, and I've done some of the work. Well, actually, a lot of the work to find somebody and to actually really show up differently.
And a lot of the work happens in the relationship also. But
Yeah.
there is a lot that you can do beforehand. And so I think we want to first touch on this concept of being able to be with the wrong person, or that there is a right person for
Yeah.
you. What would you say about that?
Well, I mean, I want you to feel comfortable with the fact that if somebody is morally or ethically, hurtful, then there's just quite possibly not a lot of work to do. But there are things to do in a relationship that somebody who may seem like the wrong person, that can help you align with the truth and find out a little bit more specifically. And that's really important. And it's also important to know that people are diverse and complex as you are, and so there are moments where you are a struggle for somebody else, just like there are moments where it's a struggle to be with this other person that you're in relationship with.
Right. So summing that up, if it's in the realm of abusive, then that may be really when it's wrong. But otherwise, fireworks. But otherwise, it's not that somebody is wrong for us or somebody is right for us. It's much more about how we show up and we acknowledge what needs to be worked through, and allowing those reflections and triggers to teach us.
Yeah, and what we always say is we're in creating a relationship. You're
Right.
not in response. So there's
Right.
thoughtful intention that will lead you in the direction that you want. We love sharing that with you, and we want you to have the most amazing, powerful relationship.
Yeah. And guys who are live watching right now, I'd love for you to just say hello, because we can't see who's there. And do let us know if the sound is off or anything like that. There are fireworks going on. So I wanted to start with a quote by Rual Villacis, and he says, "You don't get what you want, you get what you're committed to." And so this is really important,
It's a good one.
because we could be committed to something that is not actually for our highest and healthiest interest and alignment. We could be committed to something that is continuing to call in the types of people and relationships that are not the hot and healthy ones that we really desire.
Right, and that's actually a great point, because one of the reasons that we created Hot and Healthy is because sometimes, you know, we seem to live in a world where those don't coexist.
Right.
Where it's like, oh my God, this person's so hot, I gotta be with them. And then, you know, it turns out that it's an unhealthy relationship because all the chemistry is over here, and then for the healthy person who really resonates and who we know is a great person, then we feel like there's no chemistry there. And so
Right.
some of what we're talking about is, I mean, it's some deep work, but sometimes, you know, based on where we are, our experiences, how we've translated those experiences in our lives, our wires get crossed.
Right.
So that what feels hot is not good for us, and what doesn't is good for us.
Yeah. So it's that wires getting crossed thing that we want to start to bring light to and uncross and unravel, so that we can start to actually recognize the people who are good for us. The clients that I work with, the women I work with, have this going on where when we first start working together, the people that they're attracted to are usually men who are unavailable emotionally, sometimes even physically. These same patterns that are repeating them, that make them feel the same way that they've always felt. And then when we actually pull all of this apart and they do the deep inner work, then they actually start to recognize men that they've never recognized before, like find them attractive where they didn't find them attractive before, who are actually these really grounded, healthy men for them.
So that's number one, actually. Your brain is wired and you tend to gravitate towards what is familiar to you. And so somehow, whether it's childhood or whatever experience happened, you have become familiar with this particular type of person or that environment. And even if that environment doesn't happen, you will tend to try to create it subconsciously.
Yeah, literally, your brain is wired for what is familiar to you, and that may or may not feel comfortable, but it's just the pattern that has been created throughout your lifetime.
Yes. And so, number two.
Number two is that you may not have any hot and healthy relationship role models. So you don't actually even have like a concept or picture, a vision of what a real healthy relationship looks like. So how can you really know how to like find that person and create that relationship when you don't have any real examples for it? That's enough said, right?
Yeah.
Number three is that you are not clear on what you really want, and you may have made your list of like, this is, you know, what I want in a person, this is what I care about, I value, this is what's important to me, but you may not actually be in alignment with that at a deeper subconscious level.
So this does really play well with the first one that we were talking about, which is about your wiring. I mean, you may be really clear, I want this person, but your body says, nah, I want that person because they feel familiar. So it's about understanding the wiring and shifting that, and then really getting it into your body. And there's a lot of tools and techniques, and be kind to yourself, because the process is deep and it does take a while.
So number four is that you're not being honest with yourself about the responsibility that it takes to own your power, say no to the old pattern, and commit to your values. So really commit to what it is that you truly want, and being able to own everything that comes with that to create that.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, the thing that's coming to my mind now is when we first met, Lily and I first met, she was in town. Our first date was I took her to a couples communication afternoon course workshop, and we were both terrified for different reasons. And so, Lily had not really done stuff like this, and neither had I. But I knew this is what I wanted to create, and so I was taking the responsibility and taking the commitment seriously, even though there was a part of me that was saying, you know, you've never done this before, nobody's ever going to go to this thing with
Like, you can't take a girl on a first date to a relationship workshop. Like, that's too soon.
Yeah, like, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? What kind of, like, crazy person are they going to think you? I mean, like, I had all kinds of stuff.
But you were taking a stand for, this is what I want, and I'm taking the responsibility and being active in that.
And I was committed to what I wanted to create.
Right.
Yeah.
So number 5 is that you are not aware of or willing to do what it's really going to take to show up and create something that you've never experienced before. So those are similar, but there is a difference.
Yeah, it's really about the personal responsibility, and you know, when you commit to it, really just being comfortable. Because the thing to note about this is it's going to feel uncomfortable.
It takes vulnerability.
Because it's unfamiliar.
Right.
The familiar has been leading you to the same person, to the same way of being, to the same type of relationship, and this is very different. So it's going to feel like all your entire body, your cells, everything is going to be like, no, this isn't the way we do relationship. We do it the other way. Remember? Mm-hmm. So
I love how orange, yellow, gold, how gold we are right now.
It's the magic 15 minutes. so we may actually speed up towards the end as the sunlight starts to dissipate pretty quickly.
No, it's all good. So those are the five reasons why you are probably in this pattern of attracting the wrong person for you, and encountering the same stuff over and over. Your brain is wired to find the familiar. You don't have any hot and healthy relationship role models. You're not clear on what you really want on a deep subconscious level. You're not in alignment with that. And you're not being honest with yourself about that responsibility that it takes to own your power. And then you're not aware or willing to do what it's really going to take to show up and create something that you've never experienced before. So that also means like reaching out to community, to mentors, to coaches, having tools and processes to actually do that and create it, right?
Right, that's a really important part, because when you're going into a space with no role models, it feels completely unfamiliar and you don't really have a roadmap. You know, it's important to have mentors and to have some level of support, and also some role models. So you know, maybe there's not role models around you, or a lot of people don't necessarily, you know, like open up the inside of their relationship and kind of take you into how they created it, and so the information is really important to find the people to support you.
So now we're going to go into the 5 steps to actually start to break this pattern and start to attract and create the kind of relationship that is healthy and hot and right for you. So number 1 is you first need to obviously become aware of this pattern. Whatever story is going along with it, like, oh, all men are X and all women are that, and this is just how it is for me. All of those are stories that we've created based on unpleasant experiences, and then we've just made it a pattern.
And
right?
Also, you know, again, familiar, cultural programming.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of that talk that people have. Oh, this person's this, or this gender's this, or this you know, men don't listen, or whatever it happens to be, you know, so that's...
So you would literally take a piece of paper and just like mind dump all of the stories and belief systems and your patterns that you are aware of, that you can see keep playing out.
And where they started.
Where they started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, what you made that start mean.
Right. So it probably started somewhere in your childhood and had something to do with your parents or your caregivers, and you made it mean something about you made it mean something about relationships. So whether it was like I'm not enough, and so I have to continually kind of like prove my worth to somebody or chase them or whatever it is. And what, you know, again, were our role models for relationships, how our mother and father or our caregivers actually engaged with each other and treated each other and themselves also.
Yeah.
So number two?
So number two is to choose to change the story that you just looked at and that you just wrote out and you now have a deeper understanding of. And then what you need to do is to practice some self-empathy whenever your trigger comes up, instead of blaming and falling into, you know, why is this happening to me? Instead of like those types of stories and those types of reactions, try developing some curiosity, taking a breath and taking a moment and just thinking to yourself, okay, I see I'm in the pattern. I see what's being shown to me, and I love and accept the parts of me that feel hurt, abandoned, and betrayed, and let down, and I choose to heal. So, you know, yeah, so that's really important.
Right. So it's awareness and then choice. Number three is deep breathing. That was the one that was a tool that for me just helped me so much in the moment to awaken and expand and actually lean into the feeling, lean into the trigger. So we become triggered, right? And whether it's because the new person we started dating or the relationship that we're in is presenting these things that rub up against our wound or show us like it's the same thing again and again. So actually doing really deep breathing and breathing into whatever the feeling is, whether it's anger or fear or feeling like powerless, breathing into that, because that is actually where the gift is.
Yeah, and then the next one, number 4, is make a deep commitment to yourself to make new and different and healthy choices.
Right.
And when you do that, you're actually making a choice to create and to live into a different story.
Right.
You know, first it's like you recognized, then you've laid out what you want, and then you're breathing to take a moment so that you're not just in reaction. And then you're starting to string together and create exactly what you want. And by taking full responsibility for, you know, where you might have lost your power, and then declaring that, you know, you're no longer going to accept losing your power and no longer going to accept not showing fully up.
Right.
And go for greatness in your relationships. I mean, expect greatness and show up greatly.
Yes. And there again is where I like writing things down. It helps me to get it out of my head and onto the paper and makes it more clear and less on top of you. And so that's there where I would write out a commitment to myself. And then number 5 is get clear and connected to your values. And this is like huge, should be number 1, but you have to kind of go through this process to get to it. So really getting so clear and honest with yourself about what is truly important to you in relationship. And for us, we have having a commitment to growth is really important to us. Honoring our agreements is really important to us. Kindness and connection is really important to us. So we continually come back to these values of the relationship and finding how we can expand on them and go deeper. And it's not about shaming yourself or the other person if you're somehow falling off one of those values, those commitments, but it's about just using these as kind of guiding principles. These are like the pillars of what your relationship is standing on, or the foundation.
Yeah, and what's, you know, I don't know if you in particular, but I do know a lot of people have been in relationship and then after it's over or in it, they're like, oh my goodness, I felt like I lost myself. that's because you haven't really aligned with your values and committed to them. So, you know, your values truly are your most creative choice in how you live and how you create your life. You know, it's like your filter. If your value is fun, you're gonna be dating lots of fun people, but you know, fun doesn't necessarily translate into
emotional intimacy.
Yeah, or success, or family, or you know, somebody who's going to be there with you if somebody gets sick or whatever it happens to be. I mean, you know, so but you'll have fun. So you know, making sure that you're clear on what's important to you, what those values are, and then staying committed to them.
Yeah. We worked with a married couple, and we gave them this practice to do to write down their own values and then to co-create values for their relationship. And it was funny, they said, maybe we should have done this before we got married. We don't know what's gonna come out of this. This could be really bad, you know, if we are like completely on different pages about what's important to us. But they did have some different personal values, and they had some similar, and then it's about finding that common ground and like, okay, what's really going to serve the relationship. So for us, again, we both had a value of freedom in our personal life, and then when we came together, that doesn't really create the best kind of commitment of connection, because when somebody gets triggered or upset, they might just want to be like, oh, my freedom's being you know, tested here, and so I'm out. And
What
so
else?
we had to move connection to the top of the list, and freedom's still in there, obviously.
Yeah, and also it really matters, you know, when you're developing your own personal values, it matters how much you apply specificity to that definition. It's really important. So in other words, if you say, well, freedom, the ability to do whatever I want, that's not really a relationship. If you decide freedom, the ability to leave the relationship at any point in time, I mean, nobody's going to be able to take that away from you, so that already exists. So, you know, there's a lot of freedom in relationship if you decide to look for that and you decide how you define that. But the specificity that you apply to the values that you personally create for yourself and how you live are going to be relative and impactful for the quality of your life. So, I mean, I truly believe that the quality of the questions that you ask relate directly to the quality of life that you experience. So.
That's good. And then I would just add, or, you know, kind of to sum it all up, is that you've got to be, back to those first steps, be willing to create a new pattern. And so you have to be courageous and vulnerable and really be the one who's active in creating that. You know, actually coming to these dates or coming to this new relationship or this old relationship and say, like, I want to juice this up. I want to deepen this. I want something real. And I've got some like ways that we could do that, whether that's like, you know, going to a class together, or getting a mentor or a coach together, or trying some new, you know, course, or reading a book together about relationships or tantra or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's really important to be empowered. So the way to be empowered is to stand in your power, not to say to somebody else, you know, I don't feel empowered, or you're taking my power away. So in other words, here's the most powerful thing you can do in relationship. If you want to experience a particular behavior or particular quality of experience in that relationship, let's just say you want to have a lot more fun, then you need to be more fun. Because if you're like, well, I just want to have more fun and this is not really working for me, that's not bringing fun to the relationship. If you bring fun to the relationship, or if you bring what you want to the relationship has an opportunity, and your partner has an opportunity to meet you at that level and to vibrate at that level, and for you to both co-create something. There's creation and power when two people say yes. When one person says, no, I'm not getting this, it's hard for the other person to say, oh, let me take care of everything for it. you know. But if you're like, hey, I am the cooking person, so just join in with the cooking stuff. You know, it's a lot easier for somebody to join the party than for you to say you should start the party and I'm over here and I'm dissatisfied with the party. So own your power.
Be the change you wish to see
Exactly.
in the relationship.
Exactly. So
Yeah, so it's completely possible for you guys to change this pattern and to start to actually recognize the people that are
hot
and
healthy.
and to create that beautiful relationship that you desire.
Yeah.
So we are we're in Kentucky right now, and then we're taking a road trip to New Jersey, and we have a couple of workshops there on the 8th, the 9th, and the 11th, a women's only, a men's only, and then a relationship workshop on the 11th. So if you happen to be around or know anyone, please pass this on and let them know.
And the place that we're doing these relationships is called the Art of the Heart in Chester, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So feel free to join us.
And then if you have any questions or topics on relationship that you would love us to answer in these videos, then please let us know. You can private message us and we will make it anonymous, or comment, and please reach out if you would like support. We're here for you.
Yes, absolutely. Hey Rome, how are you? All right, guys.
Love you guys. Have a beautiful 4th of July.
Love you guys.
Bye.
See you.